Right. I just set up the data file and I just did a small thing yesterday. What I did is I was I hard coded this data or this path, so I just changed it. So I just ran the script and it should start executing and let it get executed. So next what we need to do is so it's executing create employee. It should execute only for 2 data sets. Why? Okay, so the script has been executed for both and both have been passed as of now. For this, it's okay. The script name it is coming like this, huh? Because inside the function library we have done another thing. There is one more here also you need to apply that. Okay, we need to change the log file a little bit. Browser name also need to be changed. You see the browser also not coming. So that means log file has to be updated a little bit. Okay. Next, okay, so I mean it's working, but I'll see in your systems why it is not working. Later I will debug. Just send me the error messages what you're getting, then I will look into that. What I want to do is next, once the execution has been completed, I have to send an email. Automatically, the email has to be sent to the required people. Okay, so to the required people. Then how would you send the email using a VB script? Okay, using VB script. There are two things normally in when you're working, then you will be knowing something called Outlook. So normally your company email and all will be configured to the Outlook. Outlook is not the Outlook email that what you create, but Outlook is that's an MS Office package that you will be having. So you will be having what is that Outlook? You have Outlook here. Okay. So normally you can configure the Outlook and you can send out an email from Outlook. But for that, again, if you want to use Outlook, you have to configure the Outlook first. Okay, so once you have configured the Outlook, then you can use something called if you want to send an email from the Outlook, you say set Outlook equal to create object of Outlook dot application. There's something called Outlook dot application. Then you can use this and then you can send. Okay, so you have a lot of options. So if you want to send, if you want to read the emails from Outlook, or if you want to send the emails from Outlook, but again, this is applicable only when your email has been configured to the Outlook. Okay, so then you can use this object Outlook.application. Then you can send out the email. Or if you want to use like Gmail, or if it is not configured to the Outlook, then we have another thing called CDO dot message. You have something called cdo.message. By using cdo.message also you can send the email. Okay, you have something called cc, bcc, or body part, a subject, from, or all those things that you have here. So there are two things here. If your email has been configured to the Outlook, then you can use Outlook.application. Or if you have not configured to Outlook, then you can use something called cdo.message. But as of now, I'm not configured, Outlook in my system, so that I'm not able to use Outlook.application. Okay, so that you have another option called cdo.message. Okay, so let's see how normally we can compose an email to cdo.message. Okay, so so I will use Gmail, uh, and then we'll send from Gmail. Okay, so this is just my email, and I need to send the email from this. But before that, what you have to do is you need to just to do some settings here. Oops, did I sign on? Just go to my account. If you want to send email from Gmail in your, through the cdo.message, then what you have to do is you need to go to sign in and security. And you say allow less secure apps. Okay, so in the security option you need to enable this. Okay, so you need to enable this, then only your script will get connected to the Gmail and then can use it. Now let me do one thing. So let me send out an email here. I'll say what is that email. I'll say just Sudha is QA. Okay, so that's my email. So to send the email from Gmail. So then, not only Gmail, any SMTP server, if you want to send, you can use something called cdo.message, and you need to do the configuration. Like you need to specify the server name, and you need to specify, the port, what it uses, then the authentication mode, and all these things like the timeout, the username and password. So you need to give the email and you need to give the password here, and after that you need to say like that object dot to whom you have to send an email, and then from, and what is the subject that you want to give, and then you have to give the text body and then send. Now let's see whether it will send it to multiple people or not if we separate the username. As I'll send it to my email also, gmail.com. So now actually what we are doing here to send out an email, we are we are copying and pasting the old status into an Excel, and then we can as add as an attachment here. Okay, and then so that email will be sent to the people, whoever that you have added. So what you can do now in your execution driver. Okay, so in the execution driver, you specify the people whomever you want to send the emails. Okay, email list to whom and all that you need to send an email, then you can specify here. Okay, you can specify here. If you want to send the email to only one person, then what you can do, you can just give only one email here. Okay, and if you want to send the email to multiple people, then what you can do, you can separate all by with comma. Each email should be separated by comma. Okay, should be separate. Now what it has to do, it has to read once the execution has been completed, then it has to take all the emails from here, and then it has to send the email status. Then how that can be done? Same, whatever the code that you have written here, you copy paste of this code and you go to the macro. Then I'll create another function now. Okay, so compose another email. So because this is bit complex code, but you don't need to do this directly, and you don't need to directly say that this workbook dot add directly can give. You don't need to create the application. You can directly say application dot work add. Okay, you say Excel application instead of Excel application. What you should say here, Excel dot application dot workbooks dot add. Then you say str path equal to this workbook dot path. You can give the path here. Okay, so wherever that has been. But before that, before it starts, you say set OFS equal to create object of scripting dot file system object. If OFSO dot file exists of this, then what you do, OFSO dot delete file. Right, now you are saving this file. You don't need to close this workbook. You don't need to save this workbook, and you can close this. You don't need to quit the application. So what you are doing here, you are okay. Next, I'm not sure if I have told this method. Did I tell AutoFit? What is AutoFit? The length should be automatically adjusted. Columns means the column length. Rows means the row length will be automatically adjusted based on the data, how much ever the data length, okay, the value length. Because if you see when I did copy paste, you know what happened? What happened there? Like the data was not, the length was not adjusted automatically. AutoFit means it adjusts the, yeah. Next, what you have to do, this thing, the attachment should be this one, and execution status for the day. What is date? It will give the today's date, right? So you are just sending that, and then this one, the email list should be this workbook dot worksheets of, what is the sheet? Config sheet. Config sheet dot cells of, which one? 25. B, sorry, 18. Yeah. 18 comma 2. 18 comma 2 dot value. So that email list will be coming from here. Okay. What in case if no email mentioned? It should not send. So this send email should be executed only, yeah. So when the email has been mentioned there, so that we will do the validation after execution, after executing the scripts here. Once the execution has been completed, then only it has to send. Okay. You can do, but I'll do it another way. But as of now, just okay. Since okay, the password should not be visible in Excel. What you can do, you can create a form. Okay, so you can create a form here. So in the user form, what you can mention is, you can design a form and you can define the field. You can have this form populated. Okay, so that goes into a bit complexity. That's the reason I'm not saying. Next, okay, in the next one I will be you know explaining this. Okay, so let it be now. So what you can do, you can as soon as you set up the configuration, you click on that, then the form has to be displayed while doing the configuration. In the form, it can display, it should display username and password field, and then you can provide your username and password there. Password will be encoded, so that as soon as you enter the username and password, it will be stored internally. So when you send an email, then whatever the username that you have entered and password you have entered will be taken into the macro, so that password will be secured. But now if you use this, if you are using, then you have to give your password. If other user is using, then the password has to be changed. That's the reason password should not be hard coded. At the same time, when you store it in the Excel, what will happen? Password will be visible to all the people. So that also we should not, we should not, passwords always are secured ones. So that's the reason what we need to do, we'll define a form later. So I'll show you how we can define a form, and you enter the username and password in the form, and then we can take it. Okay, so ideally you should not hard code. You should not hard code. Is yesterday you got OLE something error, right? If you are getting that, go to tools, references. As soon as this is displayed, see if this checkbox has been selected, OLE automation. And the next one is, please let me know if you see CDO in this list. Okay, so that's fine now. Reference is not shown here. This also we need to write one more button, clear existing results. Mail has been sent, and you can log into your email. Let's say Gmail. Yeah, it is showing the status. Now you can see the status email should come. One has been passed. Remaining should be not run, or you can update that. Okay, so remaining thing. So now you can see the status has been copied and then sent an email. Now what you do? Okay, so you schedule it and you run it. Now you see another way, another thing is then what is the macro? Run selected scripts, right? Set oxl equal to create object of excel dot application oxl dot workbooks dot open. You give the path here. I'll str workbook path set workbook equal to it's not auto macros. Right. So now what I did is here further in the automation framework I just created another VBS file which is send email. Okay, run this. Actually it's creating, but why this? No, no. I was running a wrong file. What's happening? I didn't open that Excel. I mean, I just you do that and all settings in the Excel. Okay, so Excel has been created. Now you should have received an email to you. When this approach will be used is now you say like you have got. I mean, assume that every day you need to execute overnight. Be smart as an automation guy now. The use of automation. What you do, assume that you have to keep testing your application on daily basis or regularly. Daytime, what you do your own work. Okay, so daytime, you do your own work and you have to execute overnight. Maybe your application will be deployed at night 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Every day at 11 o'clock, it has to start the execution automatically. You are not there at the desk. Okay, you can't sit at the desk for full day and then you start the run. But in that macro, what you do, you need to click on that run and then only it will start executing, right? But now what I do, I don't want to first. Okay, so before I leave the office, what I do, I will do that setup. What scripts need to be executed, I will make sure that the data and the flow and all has been updated. I will just keep the excels updated. I save those excels and then I will just come back. And then what it has to do, it has to execute the scripts automatically. It should start executing the scripts automatically at night 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. Automatically the execution should be triggered. Once the execution is completed, then what should happen? You should receive the email to you. You should receive the email to your email ID. So you mentioned the email under there, where in that configuration sheet. And then once you just update the emails, you save it and then you close it and you you go to your home. Then overnight the execution has to be completed. It has to automatically execute the scripts and then it should send the email. So what you do next day, as soon as you get up in the morning, then you can see the email from your mobile itself. You can see the email and then you can see the status, right? And then next day, as soon as you go to the office, then you can review the results, what are the scripts have been failed, and then you can work on those failed ones. That saves your time, right? A lot of time. So overnight you can do the execution. Also, we are going to do one more thing. We can do one more thing. So what you can do, you just run the script. What it should do is, what should do, as soon as generally developers will be sending the email, right? As soon as the build has been deployed, developers will be sending the email. And once the developers send an email, as soon as the email has been received, but this is applicable only when you have configured the Outlook. As soon as the email has been received, right, then the execution should be automatically triggered. That means it could be at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. Assume that you're working from onshore and offshore model. What does it mean by that? Your development team is sitting at on-site. Maybe like you're working on US timings or maybe UK timings or not. Maybe just say US timings. Then the build will be deployed overnight if the developers are sitting there. So since the build is deploying overnight, then probably you will not be there at the disk, when the build is deployed. But what they do, as soon as the build has been deployed, then they will send out an email to you. When they send out an email to you, what you can do, what you need to do, then your execution has to be started as soon as you receive the mail notification, right? So that means that's an automated process. Maybe you are at the desk or you are not at the desk. What should happen? The execution should be started, but before that you make sure that everything configuration and the scripts or the flow data, everything has been set up properly. Once the setup is done, then you just keep those ready and the email comes, then the execution should be, you don't need to monitor the email. Your script should be monitoring the email, and if the email has been received with so and so subject, done. Okay, that's how that next thing that you need to do. Okay, but we will be doing more and more, one by one. But for now you say that okay, with respect to the email, then this execution should be done overnight. Every day at night 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, then the email has to be automatically the execution should be automatically triggered. Now what I'm doing is, instead of running the macro using control button there, then what I did, I created another script, VBS script. So when you run this VBS, then it will automatically open that workbook and then it will connect to that, it will run that particular macro. Macro is nothing but run selected scripts. When you run that macro, then the execution will be automatically triggered because everything we have written in that macro only, right? Yeah, you have to give the workbook path. Yeah, you have to give the workbook path there. Okay. Now wherever this driver file has been stored, you just have to give that particular path in this. Now what I do, how we can run that VBS file automatically. If you run this VBS file, then it will automatically start execution, right? Then in your Windows operating system, you will be having something called task scheduler, right? You will be having something called task scheduler, not the task manager. It is little slow, just be with patience. Right. So task scheduler. You have something called task scheduler here. What you can do in the task scheduler, you can create a new task. Okay, so you can say create task here. Okay, what you can do in the create task, run automation scripts is your task. Then, so run whether user is logged in or not. Then you can specify the configuration here. If you say run only when user is logged in, then it will execute, it will trigger only when the user is logged in. Then trigger means you can select a trigger here. You can specify what time that execution has to be started with. Just wait. Now you can say that set daily basis, daily execute once, and then you can specify then what time that has to be executed here. Okay, what time that execution has to be started. But if you say one time, then I said what I said here 12:37, but I will say 40. So 11:40 it has to start with. Say okay. Next actions would be you need to specify what is the script that need to be executed. Where that is under automation framework, and you say batch run. Let's do one thing. Actually, it uses the same as wsh.run, because in the wsh.run, if you have any spaces, then what will happen? Anyway, spaces there. It's a batch run. Then you can specify file percentage 20. Say okay, and you say conditions. That's it. Now the task will be created here. You must be having a task. Lot of tasks have been already there. Those tasks have been completed. What is the task name that I have given? Run automation scripts, huh? Or automation script execution. Where that status has gone. Let's see now whether it executes or not. Then we'll take care of that. Okay. So now how your framework works? Too many things actually. So what you do as an automation tester, whenever you want to do the execution, then you just do all the configuration in the driver file itself and specify what scripts need to be executed, and you have to specify all the data and flow everything in the Excel only. And then if you want to execute the time itself, then you can directly click on the button. But if you want to execute it at overnight, or when you are not there, then what you can do, you can schedule this VBS file. Instead of running that, you schedule this VBS file and through the task scheduler. So in the task scheduler, you specify what time that VBS file need to be executed. Then depends on the time that whatever you mentioned in the scheduler, then the script will be automatically executing. Then it will send the result to the email. So then you can, wherever you are, you might not be there at the desk also, then still you can review the status once the execution is completed, right? So because most of the people might have already configured their email into the in the mobile, right? So if you have configured your email in the mobile, then you can send the state, you can review the status there itself. That's actually should trigger. Think it's failed to trigger. That could be reason because of syntax is incorrect. Right. There is some problem. I'll check it again. So maybe if it